man. But I look, I think the tag match, let's start with that one, the tag title match. Bucks don't play politics. They're Shawn Michaels fans. All right. FTR, the Bret Hart fans, they're going to play politics. They're going to say, we can't lose in London. It would be like taking FTR, the characters, which they don't really have, but it would be like taking FTR and blowing their brains out, So you knew that.
But Pat, the perception about politicking is from the perception that they're maybe about Matt and Nick Jackson, that they don't behave correctly backstage. Or
how don't they behave correctly backstage? Why? Because they talk to Dave Meltzer and they blow fucking butterflies in his ears about bullshit that's going on because they don't like CM Punk.
About behavior that got them in trouble last year, right?
Well, so they got into a scrap with CM Punk because they were talking shit on CM Punk. I don't see what that has to do with FTR. I mean, FTR, like, first of all, I think you're going based on that interview that they had with Jim Cornette, which they did in character, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, that interview that they did was all in character when they were talking about, we're gonna hurt the Bucks and all this stuff. They didn't end up hurting the Bucks, bro. Those guys are professionals. All four of those guys are professionals. They know what they were doing. The match itself, I didn't think was all that great. I think it was not as fluid as it could have been. I think perhaps there might have been some miscommunication.
Or the other two matches.
Well, the other two matches were better, but I'm talking about the stadium match, the stadium tag title match between them. I don't think that match was really all that good. It was like at one point, FTR Guns, he missed his cue where he had to jump in and save FTR bald, and Nick Jackson pulled up his shoulder, bro, because dude like missed his mark. I understand that working in a stadium is difficult. It's been a while for them since they worked in a stadium. But they got to work at a stadium at WrestleMania, so that was pretty cool right here in MetLife Stadium. Ooh. The Young Bucks have never really worked in a big stadium like that. They've worked at the Tokyo Dome. That's a whole different thing, because Tokyo Dome, you're talking about 40,000 people as opposed to the alleged 81,000. So it's a whole different thing. But
hasn't the Tokyo Dome produce a little bigger than 40,000?
No, but you gotta understand, like Wrestle Kingdom, and because of Tokyo's requirements and for Japan's requirements too, for like health, safety, fire, all that stuff. Word. They don't want to jam that many people inside of the stadium, so they generally get maybe 40 to 45,000 in the Tokyo Dome. We're not talking about 90,000 or anything like that. That's a baseball stadium. The difference between Wembley and Tokyo Dome is that Wembley is a football ground. Like a proper football ground, it's the national stadium for the English national team, who never bought it home. They've been trying to bring it home for a while, but that's a whole other conversation. But the match itself was not great. It was a little botchy, a little whatever. I had a feeling that the FTR was going to win because they're going to keep the FTR going as the tag champions until they can come up with something better. Plus, legacy, all that stuff, they got to make them seem a lot more important than what they are because everybody knows they're not really that important. So, I get it. I understand. They're living in the shadow of the Usos. That's hard. That's got to be really, really hard to be living in the shadow of the Usos. And in the shadow of Sammy and Kevin, and in the shadow of Finn and in the shadow of Finn and Priest, and in the shadow of the Alpha Academy, and in the shadow of the Briscoe. I mean, we could keep going about people's shadows that they're living in, but when you got to go out there and call yourselves living legends, and you're not Larry Zbyszko, it's a fucking different story. At least Larry Zbyszko sold out a stadium back in the day.
7-star FTR. 7-star FTR.
Whatever. Why don't they call their finisher the 7-star FTR? I don't even know what an FTR is. Okay. I look like the fucking third member of FTR Bob. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Right now, with my shaved head, and I'm FTR Bob, and I care about my family. I care about my children. You
kind of do with that Bobby Fish mustache. Yeah, no doubt.
No, it's not happening yet. I got the Johnny Depp Pedro Pascal thing going on right now. Then it'll evolve into the Bobby Fish mustache. Or as he's more affectionately known in the Hispanic community, Roberto Pescado.
I thought that was the Coppinger.